Hello and welcome back. My name is Maddie and you're listening to All Walks of Life. This podcast is all about talking about people's experiences and learnings and just having conversations that really remind us that we're all human, especially in a world we're all taught to be robots. It's really important to come back to ourselves and remember that we're not alone through all of this. So, hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome back if you've been here before, and if you're new here, I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be great. Today, I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome. And I think it's fun when I sit and think, okay, what do I want to talk about on the podcast this week? And, I kind of go through the list and decide maybe I could do this, whatever, go back and forth with ideas. And the other day, I was like, that the conversation that you want to have is just going to come to you. And I was just home last weekend. I currently live in Nashville. I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I moved here about a little over a year ago. And I went home this past week and we did a little cabin week up at my friend's cabin. We do this every year. It is the most peaceful, relaxing, perfect time of the year. I absolutely love it. And every time I come back or get done with the week, I'm just very sad because it's just so... You get to disconnect. My phone usage was literally, I averaged 3 hours a day last week, and that's only because I drove 10 hours Sunday and 10 hours Saturday. So that time, obviously, I was watching stuff and using my phone to keep the drive going. But during the week, I went on my phone for a total of 10 minutes a day. It was so nice and just a different way of living, just a different way of appreciating. And I feel like up there, I'm just able to really tap into myself and what makes me happy and what I really want to focus on when I get back. And one of the things that I realized I really want to focus on right now is battling imposter syndrome. And this is something I know for a fact we've all experienced, whether we've realized it or not. Even famous people, even secured individuals in their jobs experience these things. This isn't just I'm starting off, so I'm going to experience this. Anybody can experience this at any stage in their life, and it is completely normal. It really is. And honestly, I feel like today I had the realization that it's actually kind of exciting when I feel like this because it's scary, and it's scary because I'm growing. And the act of being uncomfortable, growth is uncomfortable, and the act of changing means that now I have the opportunity for everything in front of me to be completely unknown. That's kind of terrifying. And when I walk in a room and there's other people around me that know or look like they know what they're doing, that's going to send me running back. Because what do you mean? You guys are fully accomplished, fully set in stone of what you guys have going on. You have it figured out. And here I am. What am I? I don't know who I am, what I'm doing. With this podcast, I don't think people understand how many times I still get nervous and still doubt myself and still am like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Should I even continue this podcast? Who do I think that I am to start a podcast? And do I even have the knowledge and the position to be giving out knowledge and learning experiences to other people? And I know that the person that I've become and the position that I'm in is being questioned because I'm pushing myself to not be the person that I was and to not be complacent with where I was in life. So the fact that this is the issue that I'm experiencing, I'm questioning myself here, and this happens all the time. I went to the gym this morning and I was the only girl. It was all male guys. It was all guys in the group that I was working out with. And for a second I was like, who do I think that I am showing up and working out with all these guys? And then I literally said out loud, jokingly to the coach, but enough for it to make me feel a little bit better about myself, because I was like, you just have to say it out loud to own it. But I'm like, let me show up for the girls. Let me show it. Because it is nerve-wracking at the end of the day. Working out in front of men, with men, they're all way stronger than I am. I'm on my own rack. Nobody else is really bothering me, obviously. But it's okay, either I can be like, oh my God, I'm just a girl, I can't lift. Or I can be like, who cares who's around me? I'm actually showing up here for myself. Let me show up and do it. And let me see what I can teach myself through this. And I'm really grateful that when I said that out loud, like I laughed and was like, okay, who really cares? None of these guys cares. I promise you. I've worked out with all of them numerous times. Obviously, there's just usually other females around, but I'm still here to work out. They're still here to work out. Me being the only girl does not change their workout, should not change my workout. Point blank, period. Okay. And it didn't. I had a great workout. And even one of the guys at one point, he was like, "You looking swole." I said, "Yes, sir. Thank you." Like there's no reason that I should sit and doubt myself because I've put so much work into this. And same with my podcast. Why should I doubt myself when I'm putting so much work into this? And who cares if somebody thinks I said something wrong, or I don't know if I like the way that I explain something. Guess what? I can re-explain it, and not everything I say is going to land with everybody that's listening. It's important that we understand podcasts are here to learn from, and you can either really resonate with something or completely disagree. And either way, take that to learn something about, like capitalize on that feeling of I either enjoy this or don't enjoy this. Now, what can I learn from this? Take it where you need to go with it. And at the gym, actually, I had asked one of the coaches, I had actually asked him, "Hey, do you ever experience imposter syndrome? Or have you, especially being a coach, you're in front of all of us. A lot of the guys in there are older. A lot of the girls are older than a lot of these coaches. You guys still show up confidently and give us a really good workout, and we all respect you. Do you ever feel that you are not in a position to give us that information?" And he said, "Not anymore, but in the past, I've definitely done that, especially walking into a room, being around other people." Also, though, being around other people helped me realize that I didn't need to keep questioning myself. And I really like that he said this, and I feel like this is the big premise of it all, is he takes the time to continue his education. He takes the time to keep growing through this instead of letting that imposter syndrome be like, "Hey, no, actually, you're right. I'm good. Let me stop. Other people figured it out. I'm not going to figure it out. I'm just going to stop right here." Instead, it's other people have figured out, so am I. It's not an overnight thing. Like I said, I still experience this with my podcast. Guess what? I'm still showing up bi-weekly with my episodes. This Friday, I'm actually going on somebody's podcast just for a little bit and explaining who I am, my podcast, and what's my why. That wouldn't happen if I let my imposter syndrome stop me from making any type of progress in this field and in what I'm doing. I am working on getting my master's in mental health counseling. When I first started, I remember this vividly, my first internship for my associate's degree. I worked for an organization that catered to domestic violence and sexual abuse. And these women were coming in, and I felt the most imposter syndrome I think I've ever felt in my life. I questioned myself so hard that I honestly really robbed myself of that experience because I allowed myself to stay in this little bubble. I'll just work on the paperwork. I'll just be in the background, but I don't need to I can't speak to clients. My trauma is not good enough. I literally used to walk around and think that my trauma wasn't good enough, so I could not, and not good enough. My trauma wasn't as severe as others, so I couldn't go be a therapist or go be a support to these people that were coming in for help. I met this incredible woman there that honestly changed a lot of me and how I approach and understand a lot more. And it took me, even when I was learning that, it took me a long time to figure that out as I was working on my bachelor's degree, because I was so in my head about, am I even doing the right thing? Can I even do this? Can I even help people? Can I even give people a safe place to listen? And that's the thing though, my trauma and what I've experienced and the things that I have gone through does not deem me, how do I want to say this? Does not decide how I show up in front of a client. Because how I show up in front of a client is present, listening, safe, and unconditional positive regard. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to hear you. and your story. I'm not going to think, oh my God, this person has gone through the worst things ever. I can't help them. No, I'm going to sit there and give you that space to be who you are. And whatever it is that you need, we're going to work on together. I could easily say the same thing. When I go to therapy, if I decide that my therapist is not experienced enough because they haven't experienced the same trauma as I do or I have, she can't hear me, she can't help me, she can't understand me. Guess what? My therapist is much different than I am, and she has been able to help me in the most incredible ways. How? Just through support, through listening and understanding, and listening to actually understand and not listening to respond. There's a very big difference in that. And when you're feeling these things, this imposter syndrome, this worry of who do I think I am to be able to show up where I am right now and act like I know what I'm doing, I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to actually listen and understand that I'm in an uncomfortable spot, and I'm going to take advantage of this uncomfortable spot. It's not always going to be, there's not always going to be this bright, shiny light that's like, hey girl, you're experiencing imposter syndrome. Let's take a moment and appreciate the change right now. No, let's be realistic. You're going to sit there and you're going to be like, what the hell am I doing here? Probably going to have extreme anxiety and be like, I should give up. I'm probably going to give up. You might step back. You might honestly take a moment and be like, I can't do this. I almost didn't even record the episode that I'm recording right now because of how bad I was experiencing imposter syndrome being home. I was around all of the people that I have grown up with and this place I've gone for years when I was one individual, and now I went there as a new individual. I have been sober for 3 months now. I decided to stop drinking. It was impacting a lot of things for me, and I decided that I no longer wanted to keep waking up every day being very mad at myself and hating myself. And that guilt and that feeling wasn't worth it for me anymore. So I decided to go sober. And I've been 3 months sober since. Last week was the hardest week I have experienced since taking on this sober journey. And that is because I was around all of the people that I've only ever drank around. I was being at the cabin. All we do is casually drink all day, drink at night. We play games, like we have a great time. It's just, I'm not at the cabin sober, So this was my first time ever experiencing the cabin sober. And there were plenty of times where I doubted myself of who do I think I am? I think I can be sober, or even downplaying why I wanted to be sober, kind of making myself feel dumb for wanting to be sober. And there was a lot of internal conflict with that. And it was a little frustrating at times. And I got through it. And I'm so proud of myself. And it almost, like, me saying that out loud kind of is honestly kind of hard, because I feel like an imposter being like, what do you mean you're sober? Like, what do you mean you get to congratulate yourself for being sober? You've only been sober 3 months, or you didn't drink that bad beforehand, and just downplaying the progress that I am making, the things that I'm doing for myself. And I also realized a lot of that has to do with external pressure, but it's not even like, there was only one comment that was made about the fact that I was sober. And it was really quickly changed around to be like, oh, like, you're actually sober, like, you don't drink, like, good for you. And then one of the conversations even sparked into more of like, what has it been like, good for you for doing this. My sister texted me and was like, I'm so proud of you for spending cabin week sober. And that literally brought tears to my eyes, because I'm doing something for myself that is very uncomfortable, and I have to trust myself through this. And experiencing last week and experiencing the pressure that felt was so unique, because it was pressure of wanting to do it. It was also pressure of, like, genuinely just doubting myself. And it was so interesting, but I'm so glad that I allowed myself to just wait that week out and not act on emotions, and act on the fact of, I don't want to keep waking up like this. I don't want to keep being mad at myself. I don't want this to keep driving my life. I can still have fun and be who I am while I'm sober. Let this be your reality. You know you're happy. You're happy 99% of the time sober. Allow that to be. Allow those feelings that you felt before this week to come in now. Okay? So we did that, and I'm proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. Another thing that I experienced last week was the imposter syndrome behind my podcast. Because everybody's like, how's Nashville? You moved to Nashville. Everybody's always asking me how it is, and, oh, you don't live here anymore. And I feel like I genuinely go into a shell when people are like, oh my God, how is it? How has it been? You've been there for a year now. What is life like? I get uncomfortable and I get awkward, I feel like, because I almost feel guilty of saying that I'm doing great or saying that I'm doing good, that I'm figuring things out, that I'm growing things for myself, because the person I was when I lived there wasn't doing that. The person that I was in Green Bay was unhappy and wanting to change and wanting to grow. The person I am now has actually taken those steps. So when I go back to the place where I wasn't changing or growing, being the person that I am now, oh my gosh, the internal conflict is actually crazy. And I experience it every single time. It's a little less, I feel like, now as I've traveled home enough times where I've visited enough, but it's such an abnormal feeling. And when I was talking to the coach today about that, he had even mentioned these people that we grew up with, they experience us as one version. When we come back after being gone for a certain amount of time and we've done things to now change, that doesn't mean that they've experienced that. They still have this idea of who I am and who I was. And that's okay. It's just some people are going to grow with you as you are experiencing this change and this transformation, and you're not even going to have to over-explain yourself or feel like you have to over-explain yourself or feel like less than, because they're going to sit there with you and support you that whole way. And I have people that I am so, so grateful for that have been with me this whole step of the way. There's other people that I haven't talked to in a very long time that now when they ask me, how's life, it feels weird to say because they've only experienced one version of me and I've only experienced one version myself with them. So now explaining myself in a different way to them feels so wrong. Oh my God, it feels so wrong. Please let me know if you guys experience this too, especially people that are listening to this. If you've moved from somewhere else, or if you've outgrown friendships and then you see those people out and, they ask you, how's life? Let me know, comment, send this to friends too who have moved or who have talked about experiencing this, because I really don't think that I'm alone in this. Even just from the conversations I have, I know that I'm not alone in this. So I'm curious to hear it from other people. I would absolutely love to hear some feedback. So definitely let me know. But yeah, it's a very weird feeling going back to where you were from or being around people you grew up with and then explaining the things that you've done for yourself. And it's very normal. I want you guys to understand it is very normal to feel this way because change is uncomfortable. And even though you're changing, other people might not be. And also look at the people around you that you see wanting to change and you're like, they're never going to change. They might be experiencing that too. Change is very hard. Change is very uncomfortable. And especially when you're trying to step into a new version of yourself and trying to really trust yourself into trying something new, the thought of everybody else around you is never going to believe that you can change is daunting. Also remember though, these are feelings. Let's also look at the reality. The reality is we're put on this world, we're put in this life, we're put in this journey to figure it out for ourselves, to do it for ourselves. This is your path. We are all walking our own paths. Who cares if other people are not walking that path with you, or if they're a little bit behind, or if they're on another path? That's okay. You can still do what you want to do in life and who you want to become in life without these other people doing it with you. It is going to be lonely. There are many times where I feel very lonely because of the fact that I have moved and done what I am doing for myself. And when I look back at the people that I have met and that I know and that I've grown up with, it can be very lonely because I don't feel like I resonate with some people in that manner. And that is quite all right. I'm still going to treat them as my friends. There's still people that I love and care for dearly, have conversations with, laugh and have fun with. It's just, there is a different feeling to it. Feeling imposter syndrome is actually really empowering. If we really think about it, you're entering a new space and a new version of you. You're trying something different. You're trying something new. And to feel that doubt means that you're actually on the right path, in my opinion. I have this goal, and I mentioned it in my last episode. I have this goal, and I've decided I want to start taking clients and kind of being more like an online coach, have conversations with people. And hey, if you're listening to this and you want to talk, please reach out. Please DM me, send me a message. I have my Instagram and everything in my bio and in the links. Reach out to me. We can definitely set something up. I would love to start. I am starting working with people and build that business that way too. I'm working on my master's in mental health counseling. I am becoming a therapist. So this is just another way to get that part of me out there. And I am really grateful that I have this podcast, because if there are places or things in these episodes that really resonate with you and you want to talk more about, please reach out to me. Let's set something up. Let's have a consultation. Let's have a conversation and get to know one another, what your goals are, what you're looking for, and let's start working together. So definitely let me know. But again, with that, I know that I have been feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome about it because I feel very confident. I've worked in the field, I've worked in clinics, and I've worked with people on their hardest days. I worked at a mental health clinic where people were coming in there for 30 days to get support, and they are coming in there on their hardest days. They're not seeing their family. They're spending Christmas in a mental health facility. They are missing birthdays, missing deaths. There were people in there whose close family members died, and they can't leave the facility to go be with the people that they love. And they're surrounded by strangers, and they just want somebody to talk to. I have been there for these days where I've needed to help people calm down, where I've needed to just genuinely have the presence of, you want to sit in silence, let's sit in silence together. I absolutely love that I'm able to have the presence and the ability to be there for people in their darkest days and their darkest times and give them a little bit of light. That is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is I want to be that little special crack of light that maybe just one person needs, because I know I've needed it before and there's been people that have got me there. So I want to do this thing, and I need to trust myself that I'm doing the right thing. And it's really easy for me to be like, I don't know, that's so scary. Like, it's such a big leap. And it's going to happen eventually. Let's start it now. It is all about trial and error. So let's experience it. Let's really see what can happen. And I'm really excited to tap into it. And I'm excited to finally come to the realization that this is something that I want. This is something I'm working for. Stars have aligned. When I tell you things are working out how they're supposed to, and it gets very scary, and it's the thought of holy crap, this is actually this really can be my reality. Let's make it my reality. And I know I'm holding myself back because of this imposter syndrome, but I just put it out on my podcast and I just said it out loud. So now I really have to do it. So now I really can't keep running from it. Okay. Yeah, we got it. We're going to do it. Okay. And just like all of the other people that experience these imposter syndromes in different experiences and stages and seasons of their life, it is perfectly normal. I honestly really love to journal. I know that's not for everybody. That's okay. But try it out. Just Literally write on a piece of notepad, paper. Try it, please. All I ask is that you do this one simple task. Go in your notes app, grab a piece of paper, grab a sticky note. Write out what your fears are, okay? Write out what your wants are. And then write a little letter to your future self of, I know I'm afraid. I also know I have big goals. We can do it. Write a little note. Write whatever you want in there. I have done this for myself, and when I'm able to go back and when these notes like randomly find me, I actually just found one yesterday, and it was talking about, hey, things are changing. Things are ramping up. Like, get ready, but be excited and remember to trust yourself because you can do this. And seeing that yesterday, I was like, okay, wait, you're right, because I was just doubting myself there for a second. And these things are going to happen when you need them to happen. So just remember that, ask for support, ask for help, ask questions. When you're feeling imposter syndrome, keep learning, keep pushing. It's okay that you're feeling uncomfortable. Tap into that uncomfortableness and see what you can really find in there. Like when you reach that peak uncomfortability and then you keep going, you just made growth. You just made such a big change and you just overcame an obstacle that you didn't know you could overcome. Tap into it. Tap into yourself. See what you can do. So during these episodes, I really like to be able to, give actual real life representation of, hey, this is what's going on. I could easily not talk about this right now, but it's something that I'm experiencing right now. So that's why I like to talk about it. And if you go through my episodes, you will see that happens a lot is these are the things that I'm working through. So let's talk through it. It's not a bad thing. Like I'm not embarrassed that I'm not embarrassed that I'm experiencing imposter syndrome. I'm actually trying to embrace it more. And hopefully with this episode, we can all kind of embrace it more together. Like I said, reach out, send this to people, send these to your friends. If you're thinking about your friends that are trying something different and they want to know that they're not alone when they're feeling confused or scared of trying something new, send this to them. They're not alone. You are not alone. Let's really expand on this. Let's stop being so lonely through these processes and through these changes. We all deserve to do these things together. So at the end of each episode, I really like to have questions. And so the first question that I have is, in what aspects of your life are you experiencing imposter syndrome? To feed off of that, for number 2 is, what does imposter syndrome look like to you? How does it feel? What does it make you think? What does it make you doubt? What are the emotions? Just wherever that question lands, expand on it, okay? Because now for the third one is, how can I allow my imposter syndrome to help me to grow? Like I said, when you're feeling uncomfortable because you're growing, that's normal. That's what you're supposed to feel. Growth is very scary because you're tapping into uncharted territory. So what does that look like for you? What does that feel like? Okay, and lastly, I feel like this is one that I really need to work on too, is what about your imposter syndrome is a feeling versus reality? How much of this is actually true? These doubts, these concerns, I can't show up at this person. Who am I to step around and be able to do this? Is that a feeling or is that reality? And if it's reality, then what can we do to change that? How can you push yourself? How can you learn? How can you grow? And how can you experience something more through this? Maybe you need to shift something. Are you doing this for you, or who are you doing this for? Oh, there's number 5. There you go. Imposter syndrome, hold on. Are you doing this for you, or are you doing this for somebody else? Let's really make sure you're doing this for yourself and why you're doing this for yourself. And if that question sparks anything in your brain, I really recommend my episode of What's Your Why. That one is a very good episode. It gets deep, it gets vulnerable, it gets real. And I really talk about tapping back into yourself of, why am I where I am and who am I really actually doing this for? Am I doing this for myself, or am I doing this for somebody subconsciously? Because at the end of the day, I should be doing this for me. So Thank you for listening. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. I appreciate the love and support all of the time. I'm so grateful that this is my reality and that I've been able to grow this to the places that I am. Remember that we all still have good days and bad days. I for sure have bad days, and I know that I get on here and talk pretty positive at times. Just remember that I have seen some really dark days, and it has taken me a long time to get back into that positive mindset. It is not going to happen overnight. I don't expect anybody to ever have a quick fix. A quick fix does not last long. So remember that this takes time. Put that time into yourself. Remember to let yourself know and to remind yourself that you are loved. You are so loved. And tell somebody around you that you love them. I love you. I love all of you. And I appreciate all of you beautiful people for hanging out with me. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a great day.